Let's talk about the reality of Forex trading because most people just don't get it. So here in my free Telegram channel where I've shared my live trades and analysis for years, links in the description of this video, and I'll post it in the pinned comment as well. I share all my daily analysis and stuff in real time. So a lot of you guys know that I am short on GBP CAD right now. I still remain short. We actually almost hit the profit target yesterday in my private Discord group. This is what it looked like last night whenever we had GBP CAD in $60,000 of profit, on its way to the $100,000 profit target, which was down here. I'm still waiting for this to play out, but look at what's happened overnight. Prices just spiked all the way back up to here. And so I'm basically sitting in just a small profit right now on my positions, since my position average is just above the current market price right here. So I'm in maybe like $10,000, $20,000 of profit right now. And realistically, actually, let me just go ahead and share it with you right now because I've got my phone right here. I'm using my other camera to do this video. That way I can actually use my phone here. I'm going to screenshot what the terminal looks like right now. And we're going to talk about GBP CAD as well as the USD CAD trade that we're in. So a lot of you guys know that I sold GBP CAD off of the daily time frame. And then for USD Canadian dollar, I sold off of the daily time frame as well. I just sell at resistance and I buy at support. It's basically all I do. So here in Discord, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this right here. I'm going to show these actual current trades that I'm in. And here is that right there is GBP Canadian dollar, and this right here is GBP US dollar, and then this right here is the actual P&L terminal. So check it out. These are my entries right here. So GBP Canadian dollar still in profit, barely missed the profit target last night, went to like $80,000 of profit, and then had a reversal. I'm not closing the trade. And then we also have USD Canadian dollar where I sold at this little daily resistance zone. You know, see how simple the trade was on the daily time frame. Price came into a resistance zone and we had a really big move up yesterday. I waited for price to kind of start rejecting the zone and bouncing at the zone, then I entered short. So what has happened since then? It has broken above the zone. So I want to show you exactly how I'm going to be managing these trades. The first one right here on USD Canadian dollar, there's no reason to stay in the trade because price has broken past the zone. Now you'll see how much loss I'm in on this right here. I risked $50,000 on USD Canadian dollar, and the reason I risked less than 100K is because I'm already in GBP Canadian dollar. So I'm trying to limit my exposure, keep my eye on it to make sure that if I'm wrong, I lose a little bit less when I'm wrong, and when I'm right, I happen to make a little bit more. So for USD Canadian dollar, you can see it's in $23,000, $24,000 loss. That's about halfway to the $50,000 loss. So what I'm going to be doing right here is I'm going to be closing my USD CAD trade. And the reason I do this is when I have a trade that starts going into loss, I end up usually just getting out of it a little bit early. So I'm going to be closing it right here. And then I'll screenshot my current terminal, what it looks like. And then I will also go down and screenshot my entire P&L since I started this account in October of last year. Mind you, it is June of this year. So I've been running this account for like 7, almost 8 months now. And here in Discord, I'm going to post it. So check it out. This is what things look like right now. And this is how I call a closure whenever I exit a trade. I'm literally just going to send an audio message, right? I am closing USD CAD right now. You can see my camera has frozen. I'm closing USD CAD right now in small loss, comma, about halfway to the stop loss. And then I'll put, I remain in GBP CAD. So check it out. This is how it looks in Discord where I shared it. Closing USD CAD right now in small loss about halfway to the stop. So it's a $23,000, $24,000 loss instead of a $25,000 loss. And then I'm going to put here, I remain in GBP Canadian dollar, so GBP CAD. And then I'm going to post a screenshot of the actual terminal showing the trades I'm in. I've called every single one of these trades live on this account since I started it. The account was started at about $350,000. It shifts a little bit, so it's a little bit more because the value of crypto fluctuates whenever you're sending it to the broker. But 350K deposit, and then the current balance is about $800,000 with a trade in profit right here. So the equity is at $824,000. So I've grown this account from 350K to 824,000. I'm trying to grow it to $1 million. Once I get it to $1 million, I'll withdraw about $500,000. Out of that 500K, a little over $200,000 is going to be tax, and then I'll get to keep the rest of nearly $300,000 in cash after the tax is paid. Then I'm going to grow it again. I'm going to grow this account from 500K. I'm trying to get it to 1.5 million, then withdraw $1 million. It's a lot of money. So for USD Canadian dollar, I've gotten out of this trade. It doesn't look like it's going to work anymore, at least at this exact moment. That could change if price pulls back down here, fails to bounce as support, and instead has kind of a little weak dead cat bounce before twisting to the downside. I could just re-enter. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on USD Canadian dollar. Now, GBP Canadian dollar, I'm going to be holding this trade. I'm going to be staying in because I still think it's a perfectly valid trade, particularly when you go to the weekly time frame. Whenever you go to the weekly time frame, price gets into this zone, it bounces away, and we've had a lot of really big bounces here at this zone. Had a little bit of leakage through here as it spiked above the zone, but every other time we've gotten into this zone, including right now, we've had a little bit of a bounce. So this little bit of a bounce was not enough to get us out in profit. We went almost to the profit target, but it just didn't go all the way. I'm going to be holding this. It doesn't look like anything I should be closing right now, unless we start getting back here into the resistance zone and going sideways. At that point, I'll probably look to maybe close around break even, or if it starts to break above, of course, I will be looking to exit this trade before the stop loss. Thus, when I'm wrong, I take a little bit less of a loss, and when I'm right, I try to hold it all the way to the 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. On average, I make about twice as much when I'm right versus what I lose when I'm wrong, but I don't use 1-to-2 risk-reward ratios. I just use simple 1-to-1 risk-reward ratios, and then I manage the trade dynamically because I've got the room and flexibility to manage it, since my stop loss is not like right there at the zone. You get stopped out on spreads and gaps and liquidity spikes, and it's just a pain in the ass. I just manually manage it. And you manually managing trades using your intuition and discretion as a result of all your applied experience in trading over, for me, like the past decade, I made millions of dollars in Forex and crypto and stocks combined. Your discretion is the only thing that's going to help you be profitable. Everything else is, there's no mechanical system that's profitable. Everything at best results in probably about a break even. So, which is why it's cool, because I literally tell people this. I'm like, if you just blindfold yourself and enter random 1-to-1 risk reward ratio trades on any chart at any time for any reason on basically any time frame, provided you're using maybe like the daily, that way the commissions and swaps don't chew away at a lot of the profits or losses, you're going to roughly break even after about 100 to 200, certainly 300, 400, 500 trades. And that is a break even system. And keep in mind, most people can't even be break even. You can be break even, meaning you're ahead of like 90, 95% of traders who are losing money by just blindfolding yourself and entering, well, I mean, I guess you can't blindfold yourself, but by entering random 1-to-1 risk reward ratio trades, risking the exact dollar amount on each trade and holding the trade to the profit target or stop loss. The cool part about this is that if you get break even, you know, I can't say when technically because everything's uncertain, right? I can't guarantee you anything. Trading's risky. Most people lose money. You shouldn't listen to anything I say because this video here is just for your entertainment only. It's just entertainment, information, and educational purposes only. But what the case is for most people is you're going to roughly break even. So to get from break even to actually being a profitable trader, you have to give 2% of a shit and use 0.69% of your brain power and your willpower and your mental bandwidth to just close a trade a little early when it starts to lose. And then if you do have a winning trade, just hold it. Hold it to your original profit target. That's literally all I do. That's one thing that I've just done for years. And I've used various risk structures to test it against. I've used various types of zones and various zones on different time frames. The thing that has always consistently worked well for the past 8 years for me has just been simple support resistance zones on the higher time frames like daily and weekly, buying at support, selling at resistance, 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, closing losing trades a little early, holding winning trades to the profit target most of the time. That's all I do. It's buy at support, sell at resistance on the higher time frames. So for GBP CAD, I don't really see anything we should be doing here. So another trade that I have that's setting up right now that I think I'm probably going to be entering, and I might even enter it right now here in this call, is Euro USD. So on the weekly chart, we have a nice clear zone here. I did get my alert triggered last night. If we go here to my alerts, you can see this alert got triggered at, it looks like it was maybe this is like 12:30 a.m. last night. So basically like midnight when I was asleep. I think that this is a pretty good trade to get into. We've already kind of had a little bounce here at the zone. However, it's bounced up at this zone. And then we have this little miniature, cute, little adorable support resistance zone right here. I don't know if price is going to be going up or down. I do know a safer entry would be to wait for price to fall back into the zone. So I'm going to be waiting on price to do that. And I'm just going to set an alert right here around these lows. So if we come back there, then we'll be able to do that. So I'm looking to buy if price does that and comes back here into the zone. That's Euro USD. We had a setup on USD CHF, and this was yesterday. I'm going to show you this one right here. Originally, I was looking to sell at this zone, but it didn't look good because we had a lot of bullish momentum, and I ended up being right, and I ended up pushing up above the zone. This is one reason I do not set limit orders at zones. I don't automatically buy or sell when price gets into a zone. What some people will do is they're saying, okay, if you know you're going to buy at support and sell at resistance, Why not just set a limit order? That means you set a buy limit at a support zone. Then if it gets to that support zone, your buy limit order, which is a pending order, is what it's called, it turns into a market order, and then it just enters you into the trade basically automatically without you even having to do anything. So it's kind of like pre-programming your entry, and so it will automatically enter you into a trade at a given zone. My camera froze again. Jesus. So I do not do that just because you can't really account for the context of the price action. So I did not like the way the daily candle looked as it was painting yesterday. And then currently we have this daily candle, which has been open for, I don't know, 18 hours or so. So in this case, if price gets into a zone and it starts immediately breaking past it, and we don't have this like kind of selling sensitivity at the zone where price kind of like drops away really quick, basically what we're seeing on Euro USD right now, right? We're getting into the zone and we're having a nice like aggressive kind of, I don't know if I'd call that aggressive, right? But it's a bullish wick pushing away from the zone. That tells me that for some reason there's buy orders there at the zone. There's liquidity that's on the long side that could send price a little bit more to the upside. There's just it's an area where price is not immediately going to be breaking through the zone. After that, I enter. And because I wait for that, some people will just call this like confirmation. So they'll call like, you got to wait for confirmation that price is bouncing. You call it whatever the hell you want. I wait for price to get to a zone, and then I look at it after the alert goes off, and I make sure it's not immediately breaking the zone. And if it looks like it's going to break the zone, kind of like USD CHF did, then I just don't take the trade. So I ended up ignoring this zone. That protected me. That would have been a loss. Now on USD CHF, we've actually got a zone right up here. So some people would say this zone is not super clear. I think it's clear enough to be able to take a trade. The zone is something like this. So here's how I've constructed it. I've used all these lows right here from these wicks and candle closures there at the zone. And then it bounced right there a couple times, like 1, 2, 3 times as support, broke below. Then we found resistance a couple times in here before a sell-off. And then we found resistance again here a couple times before a sell-off. I think it'd be perfectly reasonable to get into a sell trade right here at this zone. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting an alert up here at the zone. And I'm setting my alert near the previous highs. So for example, if I enter down here, like where current market price is, or maybe even lower, there's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is it kind of screws up the risk structure and makes it a little bit more of a pain in the ass. Let me show you why by using 2 examples. So if we sell right now at the zone, and then, we just do the simple thing of putting the stop loss above the zone, putting the target at 1-to-1. That's what the trade would look like right now, okay? Now, again, there's nothing wrong with this. However, let me just show you something even sexier, something even more beautiful, something more beautiful than your wife or your husband. No, I'm just playing. If we wait for price to get here into this zone, I'm going to just copy this right here, move it over. Then we're going to zoom in, right? Enhance image. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to drag the entry up to here. Okay, so this would be an entry like entering right here along these highs a little bit deeper into the zone. Look what happens. The same stop loss, right? So it's the same location, 0.8219 or 0.822, whatever this is up here. But instead of the profit target all the way down here, we just have to make it 1-to-1, right? That's all we need to do. Look how much easier that would be to get your profit target hit. Right here, if we enter here, we have to risk this potential drawdown, and then it bounces, and then you have to go all the way down here, and you could have just had a better entry. And, maybe it runs away down here and goes straight to the profit target. That'll happen, right? That's going to happen some percentage of the time. But it's less risky to wait for this right here. Because if you wait for that right there, all price has to do is it just has to get a little bit deeper into the zone. And then if it gets deeper into the zone, and then you have an entry right there, if it starts going against you, it's a lot easier to get out of this trade, right? Say it goes up here and it closes above the zone, and we don't have any like wicks or anything that paint like that on the daily chart or the 4-hour. In that case, you can just close the trade. It's going to be maybe halfway to the stop, right? A third of the way to the stop, halfway to the stop, sometimes a little bit more. And if it happens when you're asleep and it hits the stop, well, that's okay. That's what a stop loss is for. It stops the loss, right? If the worst case scenario is you lose whatever it is you plan to risk on the trade. So if I get into this trade here and I risk like $100,000 and it breaks above the zone, closes, and I just get out early, I might lose $50,000, which is like half of 100K. But if it starts bouncing, it only has to do this, right? All it has to do is just have a little bit of a move away from the zone. In this case, 100 pips on USD CHF, which is nothing, because the last few times price was at this zone, this one went 250 pips. This one right here went 220 pips. And then if we have up here, right, all we're asking for is just 100 pips. That's why I tell people, don't try to be a hero. Don't try to catch the next 500 to 1,000 pip move or a lot. All you want to do is you want to take the smaller, relatively more predictable bounces from the zones, because you can be in and out very quickly, and the risk is still controlled, and the trade duration is shorter because you don't have to sit in trades that go into drawdown as long because you entered low and then it ended up going deeper into the zone and then rejecting and going down. A trade that could have taken you a couple days, like 2, 3, 4 days, ends up taking you like maybe 2 weeks. I don't like sitting in trades forever. And even though I trade the daily or the weekly chart, my average trade duration is only a couple days. Very rarely am I in a trade for more than like 2 weeks. And I mean that. You can go check in my Discord server if you join my private trading group here. It's called the MFX Nicks Trades group. You can scroll through all the trading history and you can like look at all the stats for yourself. You can literally see everything. Every single thing since I've been growing this account has been shared here live in real time, time-stamped with the exact dates and times, the full analysis, every single trade management update, showing all the P&L, showing all the entries, showing all the risk, showing all the exits. Every single thing is documented live. And the reason I do this is to teach people how the reality of trading actually is. So you know what I titled this video, right? It's like, the reality of Forex trading. Let's have a conversation about it. The reality is that shit doesn't always go according to plan. A lot of people cannot manage this psychologically. They can't manage it emotionally. They're just acting like a little bitch, right? You're just sitting there. You've got that inner bitch inside you that says like, oh, this sucks. I'm so sad. Price didn't go immediately to the profit target and I couldn't pre-order my purple Lamborghini. Okay, that's the reality of trading. The reality of trading is that you're going to get into trades that sometimes are a pain in the ass, even if you do everything right. It sucks, right? But then again, this is why most people aren't profitable. They can't manage it. I'm going to be waiting patiently for USD-CHF. Being patient has always rewarded me. The only time it doesn't reward you is if price barely gets into a zone and then bounces away and you ended up missing out on it. Okay, cool, that'll happen. But it's going to happen a lot more often if you enter really low into the zone where you get into the trade and your trade durations are longer. And in my opinion, and I guess I could say from my subjective experience as well, like it is a fact subjectively for me that if I don't wait for quote unquote good entries, meaning price goes deeper into the support resistance zone towards like a good optimal spot where it's either going to break or bounce, my win rate is lower, my profitability is lower, my trade duration is longer, and the level of stress that I have in my relationship with my spouse is a little bit higher. But she's pretty understanding about everything, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. But that's why I wait for price to get deeper into the zone. So I've got my alert here on USD-CHF. I will be waiting to see what happens there. For USD-CAD, I really don't see anything else at this moment. I'm just going to be leaving this alone. And for Euro-USD, again, I'm going to be looking to buy here at the support level. I just want to wait for price to come a little bit deeper here into this zone. We've already had a nice bounce, and this might not happen, right? I might have to change up my risk structure. Say we come into here and we just continue bouncing at this little miniature, adorable, super cute, quaint zone, this little chic, this little boutique zone right here. If price starts to bounce right there, then I might just enter there with lower risk and put a stop just below that zone. So that way, if I lose, it'll be a small loss, but if I win, it'll be a nice big profit because it'll have a big bounce away from the zone. And then if it hits the stop loss and goes all the way down there, then what will be the case is that it will come all the way down here and I'll just re-enter the buy there at the low and it won't be a big deal. And if that one wins, then I'll have a nice big profit and I'll have a slightly smaller loss for where I lost the first entry. It's perfectly fine. Another thing is people say, oh, you're revenge trading and emotional trading if you re-enter a trade that you lost. That's complete bullshit. If you get into a trade and then you lose, just because you got stopped out of the trade on a technicality does not necessarily mean it invalidates the whole trading idea. For me, the whole trading idea is invalidated if price clearly breaks past the zone. There's no reason to stay in a trade if it breaks past the zone that you thought it was going to bounce at or that you were positioning yourself to profit from a bounce at, right? Because you can't predict what's going to happen. It's 50-50. A price goes up or it goes down. So in my very humble opinion, with 10 years of trading experience and having made millions of dollars in all these markets combined, I think it's just a better idea to get in whenever you think price is going to go in a particular direction with a controlled risk structure. And if you're wrong on the technicality, but the price is still set up in such a way where you still think the final outcome could play out, such as a bounce at a support zone or a bounce at a resistance zone, well, you could just re-enter the trade. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be people who tell you you're emotional trading, you're revenge trading. Trading is based on emotions anyway. Like you look at the chart and you use your experience to decide whether or not you quote unquote feel like price is going to be bouncing or not, based on your experience, based on where price is at on the chart, based on your examination and your discernment of the price action. You're using all that and it presents itself as a feeling for what you decide to do. That feeling is an emotion. So basically everybody's trading emotionally if you're manually trading. If you're not manually trading, then you're trading with either an automated trading approach or a trade copier, or you're having somebody do investing for you, or you're using some sort of like, quantitative hedge fund strategy they've spent billions of dollars developing and it's fully automated, but not really because the coders still have to go in and develop the code more to account for nuances and things like that. If you're manual trading, you're going to be using your damn emotions. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. What we don't want to be doing is using the quote unquote not helpful emotions. So the emotions of like, okay, I lost a trade, so now let me risk 5 times the amount on the next trade. And then if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose my entire trading account and all my trading capital. But if I'm right, I'll make back all the losses plus a little bit more. That's kind of a stupid thing to do, right? Everything needs to be controlled and pre-calculated in such a way that is logical and rational and that dictates long-term you're going to be able to make a significant profit. If these words I'm using are too crazy for you and you don't understand, it's okay. I understand. All I'm telling you to do, buy at support, sell at resistance. If you want, it's your decision, not mine. That's what I do. And I'm telling you to structure risk, meaning you risk an amount per trade, whether it's a percentage or a dollar amount, that you are comfortable losing if price screws up and goes against you. You don't want to be a dumbass. You don't want to be lonely. You don't want your family and kids and your spouse to disown you. I mean, I'm not speaking from personal experience or anything like that. Let's go to the next trading opportunity. So USD Canadian dollar, AUD Canadian dollar. I remain waiting for AUD CAD to come deeper here into this zone. Why? Because it's a weekly resistance zone. It's a daily / weekly resistance zone. Sure, we were here 5 years ago, but I think if price does get all the way into that high there, we have the nice potential for a beautiful little bounce there, right? And I mean little bounce. I'm not going to be trying to hold this 3,000 pips or anything, but that will be a good entry where the stop can go nicely above the zone, target below at 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. And if it breaks above, I'll be able to get out pretty quickly because that's the make it or break it moment. It's going to either bounce there at that high or it's not. So we will see what happens on AUD CAD, waiting for her to go a little bit higher. This might take a couple days. It's currently Friday, so the market closes here in, 7 hours or so. So this may be a trade we end up getting into next week if it sets up. And that's one big if. Can't say when because you don't know if something, you don't know that something will happen. So you have to use the words if to talk about it in terms of probabilities. Euro GBP ended up bouncing here at the support level and going straight up, and I missed my alert by a couple pips down here at these extreme lows. It sucks. It sucks. I could have made $100,000 on this, but instead I missed it. So no trades and no trades at the moment. I don't see any trades. Some of you guys are telling me in DMs that that's a clear resistance zone we can sell. It actually looks like it might have worked out if you would have sold right there at the top of the zone, stopped nicely above in a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. That one might have worked. I don't see this as a pretty clear zone. I see this as something that's kind of a pain in the ass, and price has broken past it a million times. So I don't know. I didn't see anything personally, but what I do know is that this zone down here at this support level, this was really clearly defined. I just missed it on a technicality, and that's okay. That's the reality of trading, which is why I named the video this, to kind of highlight that. GBP JPY, I'm waiting on sells at this resistance up here. CHF JPY, I'm waiting on sells at this resistance, but we also look like we got something much more likely to happen. Let me remove all my drawings. Let me start from scratch and let me construct this zone down here. Okay, so we've got a nice clear zone with the exception of that little wick right there, that little stupid wick breaking above the zone. Who does he think he is? That wick broke above the zone, but aside from that, we have a resistance here twice, and we have support, 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 and a little bit of support right there. It didn't come all the way in. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to move my alert from this resistance zone up here because we're kind of getting away from it. Over the past 3 days, right, it looked like we could have gone there to sell at that resistance zone, but we didn't. We've now fallen with these 3 daily candles. So I'm going to move my alert to down here. You can see my alert's about halfway into the zone, a little bit further south of half in the zone, right? So a little bit more optimal of an entry. I just want to be able to account for all these little wicks and stuff here at the zone. So let me go ahead and just extend this a little bit lower to account for kind of those little like lows that popped up into there. So that was a bounce, that was a bounce, that was a bounce. And then we had sort of a bounce here back at the beginning of May of this year. It's about maybe like a month and a half ago where it just barely came into the zone and then quickly tugged away. I don't even know if you would have gotten a chance to get an entry there. If price comes down here into this zone where this current alert is on CHF JPY, I think this is a pretty decent trading opportunity. I'm actually going to share this in the Telegram channel for you guys right now, so that way you guys can follow it. And again, if you're not in my free Telegram channel, I don't know what in the ever living fuck is the matter with you, because it's free. And if you don't like it, you can just leave. You don't have to give your email. You don't have to like take, a whole sign up process. You don't have to watch a damn video. You could be there in the next 5 seconds by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. So CHF JPY, I will be looking to buy here at this support, right? And I pre-plan all my analysis and share all my exact live trades with the entry and the risk and all the management updates, everything that has enabled me to get a $350,000 account to $800,000 and a little bit more technically over the course of the past 7 months. Every single trade is called live there in the Discord server. I'm not giving you the link here in this YouTube video. You know why? Because I want you to first watch my YouTube videos for free, and then I want you to go through my Telegram channel for free and see all the stats for yourself. And then if you actually want to follow the live trades and be able to do like we do like, maybe like 1 or 2 Zoom live sessions per week where people can hop on and ask me questions. And if you want to do like an onboarding call with my team, if you just want more of that little personal touch, then the link to this Discord server to subscribe to it is going to be in the Telegram channel. It's actually right here. I posted it yesterday. I post maybe like once, twice, 3 times a week maybe for the Discord server. But I want you to first just watch my YouTube videos for free and then on Telegram channel as well. That way you can just learn all this stuff, because you can learn everything you know for free from me. You can learn everything I know for free from me. And then if you just want to see it in real time, that's what the Discord's for. It's just a place where you can actually just watch everything literally live, time-stamped, every single thing, if you just want everything to be simpler and more kind of a fluid way to follow the trades. Instead of having to think for yourself and having to plan your own trades out, right? You just follow my trades. So with AUD, Japanese yen, so odd JPY, I'm waiting on price to come here into this resistance zone to sell. We do have kind of a support zone down here, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit nicer up here in this resistance zone. We've got a lot of aggressive price wicks coming into that region. Up here, it's a little bit more clearly defined. So if price gets up into there, I'll still be looking to sell. I don't know when or if that's going to happen. So let's just wait and see. It could take another month for price to get up there. Could take a few days. Euro AUD, I'm waiting on price to come down here into this support level. I remain patiently waiting for her, just like Rapunzel waited for her prince inside the castle before she let down her hair. But I don't have any hair, so I just, you get the point. I'm going to be waiting on this for price to come down here in the support, and I'll be looking to buy. Stop below and a target above at 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. GBP NZD is probably going to take a while to set up, just being honest, just being realistic, as the title of this video suggests. It's the reality of Forex trading. I'm going to be waiting for maybe like a month or 2 probably, if this sets up. And we don't know if this is going to set up. We really don't. Like this, we could come all the way down here. And if we come down to here, I'll probably look to buy right here. I think that would be reasonable. But yeah, we're kind of in no man's land right now here in the middle between the 2 trenches, right? We've got the southern trench here with the German soldiers here in World War I, and we've got the northern trench here along, in France. And then this is the 20-mile, 10-mile no man's land. We're in the middle of no man's land where artillery is falling on us. This is just stupid. We don't want to do anything here. We want to wait. Until the attack comes to us, or we can send the attack from the support. We're not at war here. We're literally not at a world war. This is just us buying and selling at support resistance. So you know what? Forget the whole thing about the trenches and like violent warfare and no man's land. Just wait for it to get into the resistance zone, and then I'm going to be looking to sell, or wait for it to get to the support zone down here. Alert would go something like that. Yeah, that's probably, that encapsulates all of the little regions where price went to that zone. Yeah, no need for violent warfare. We can just wait for price to get into a zone where we're going to enter, and we can pinpoint things a little bit more nicely. AU, nothing. USD, JPY, nothing. GU, actually GU. Okay, GU looks okay, but I think Euro USD looks a little bit better. A couple things here on GBP USD. If I am being real, GBP USD looks okay right now. Why the hell do I think Euro USD looks a little bit better? Let's go and compare. I think I just like EU a little better because this zone has been literally it just bounced there and then it bounced here again. And then if we come back in here and just bounce a tiny bit, I'll be able to make a nice profit. GU's a little bit more weird though, right? I mean, we did bounce here as resistance, but then we broke above, right? Then we had support, that was nice. We broke below here, came up, found resistance, tried to go down, faked out, right? Didn't have enough selling momentum to go to the downside, twisted back to the upside, tested the zone, then bounced to the upside. And then we came back here and bounced like nothing happened. If price gets into here, I mean, sure, technically it's like a trade you can take from just like a technical perspective. You're like, Nick, this is a support zone. We can buy at the support zone with the stop below and the target above. And I'm just like, technically, bro, you're right. But I don't know. My experience dictates that, this is just not as good as Euro USD, which is just so clean. This is like a trade you want to bring home to mom and dad. So beautiful, so nice. She's a virgin. Euro USD is not a virgin. She's a nasty pair. But it is a technical good trade where you can take in and everything looks a little bit more clear. So while there is nothing wrong with GBP/USD, and I am not going to sue you, I will not sue you in federal court if you buy there at the support zone on GBP/USD. But I just personally think, like, me personally, I just think Euro/USD is a little bit better of a trade. So, we'll see what happens, right? Okay, so if we continue down, we've got some of these other pairs that nothing's going on. So Euro JPY, NZD JPY, GBP AUD, CAD JPY, Euro CAD. I don't really see anything on these pairs right now. So that's just me personally. So let's structure everything and do a nice little recap. GBP Canadian dollar, I remain in this trade. I remain in it. I don't see a reason to close. It is coming back. It is painful. It's painful to look at my terminal last night, which looked like this, right? $44,000. I think I shared in the Telegram channel too. It was like 50,000. Yeah, it was like $52,000 of profit on GCAD. Then I got into USD Canadian dollar, and then I got into USD CAD. So that's GBP CAD. I think it's still likely enough to go to the profit target. Yeah, we're retracing, but the trade's not in drawdown, at least at this moment. I think it's perfectly fine to hold it. So, we're holding, thinking it might continue down. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't see a reason to close it. USD CHF, we could be setting up really soon on this. I would love to get into a sell position on USD CHF. I think this is a great trade with a great risk structure. I might put my stop just a little bit further or something like that. And then I'll go ahead and post this in Telegram for you guys right now as well. So I'll do a little screenshot thing here. Go here in Telegram. Be like USD CHF looking sexy for sells soon. Okay, so that's that on USD CHF. Euro USD, I'll be looking to buy pretty soon here. And being a person who has had a free Telegram channel where I shared all of his analysis and P&L history and trading recaps and outlooks for 8 years. Yes, since summer of 2018. We're currently in summer of 2026. I've been doing this shit 8 years for free in the Telegram channel. That's crazy. The same Telegram channel I've had for 8 years. Wow, that is so wild. Anyway, going on a little soapbox there. Euro USD, I am looking to buy soon, right? So I'm like still being, still showing the analysis, but being just vague enough so that I have a reason to justify people in the Discord server where they get a little bit more help from me. They can ask questions. They can follow the trades live, timestamped. But I'm doing my best to give out 90% of this shit for free to you guys. I'm just literally showing you, this is what I'm looking to do. And then here's the result after. And I show all the wins and the losses, all the ups and downs. I'm not sitting over here telling you, look, I've got 90% win rate and I've made $100 million this month. And, I don't know. I'm trying to be realistic with you guys here. So that's for me, at least realistic for me, right? Because I've been doing this for 10 years. GBP USD is decent, but I'm not looking to take it. USD CAD, no longer a trading opportunity, but I'm going to watch and see what happens at this zone. If we do something like that, like break below, then pop back up and retest and start rejecting, that's perfectly fine for sells. Perfectly fine. I'll just, so I'm going to, if that happens, I'll be looking to get back in. AUD Canadian dollar, I'm going to drag this a little bit further up. This looks good. It could be a few days where it pops up into that zone, a few trading days, right? So probably sometime into next week since it's Friday today. And then everything else is kind of like a little bit far away from zones. So nothing really else. So yeah, I'll focus on GBP CAD, holding shorts, USD CHF, getting into shorts if we get here into this zone. Euro USD, I'll be looking to buy here pretty soon. Looks like we're bouncing too. Yeah, it looks like we're bouncing there. I'll be looking to get in soon. AUD CAD, I'll be looking to sell pretty soon. And then GBP USD, we'll see. I don't know. I like Euro USD better, like I said. All right, that being said, that's the end of this video. I hope this video was useful. If you made it here to the end, and if you hit the like button, and if you leave a comment, then that is just so cool. Wow, you were just so awesome. That is really, really cool. Thank you for, supporting the channel? I don't know. Like the video and comment if you feel like it. And if not, that's cool too. I'll see you in the next one. Happy trading, my friends.